Okay, so first live webinar of 2025 just changed to 12 p.m. EST now. So spend half an hour or so going through the trading buddy on NinjaTrader. Um, although I have made some training videos and I thought they were self-explanatory, some people just not getting it. So let's see if we can get through and make sure that everybody's working okay. And then we're going to go and look at some TradingView stuff and look at Apple. Interesting setup on Apple right now. And then I'm going to do a bit of Confluence trading strategy with oil, I think. So first of all, the trading buddy. So it's about operational landscape. Okay. The thing is, this is a chart that you're not going to trade off in particular. It's about setting out your stall, how that operational landscape looks, um, where the data points are, where you are within those data points. Red line is where we are right now. We've just had natural gas come out. We had some unemployment and all that sort of good stuff. We've got those there. And in the video for the training, I show you how to enable these and change these particular three optional sort of correlations, if you like. But it's about understanding where we are in the day, how to plan your day, plan your week. So we've got that live economic data down that right hand side. So I just need to go into the settings first. So you start with a standard chart. For me, standard chart on oil, copper, gold is 10-minute or a 5-minute chart. Nothing special, nothing exotic. Simple chart. Load up the indicator. Nothing else on there for now. Okay. So when I go to indicators, I've got all these back end things. Now, if you take off the custom groups, when it comes as default, the custom groups aren't checked. And I tell you this in the training video. So if I just apply that now, you'll see they're empty. Okay. So you can go in and choose the instruments for your correlations depending on what you are trading. So this is MCL, this is micro oil I've got on the chart here. So I'm really interested in the correlation between oil and copper, oil and ES, and oil and gold. Okay, so and I've put minimum correlation score of 3 there. So whether I get positive or negative, it will be 3. The range to show on the economic calendar, all available. So you can do a bit of back testing as well as what's looking at what's in the future. Simple. I mean, this is self-explanatory, guys. If you hover over, it actually tells you what it means. Okay. So even to the point where flags on the chart, click, check it. So we get the position. Okay. If you hover over anything that we do, I want the flags at the bottom on this one. I could change it to top if I wish. Okay. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The main thing is to make sure you've got there and make sure you've got live data. Okay. Very important you have live data. So I've chosen those. Time zone. I'm in the UK right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that time zone on the left to the UK. So there, okay. The one on the right will stay at EST. So I'm going to apply all of those now. Okay, let it load up. Okay, so you can see here on the left there, the time is GMT. My flags have gone to the top, okay? And the EST time is on the right. And those three sort of correlations that I built that I wanted to look at whether the are there. So we've got CL is all negative at the moment, HG is positive, so we've got that negative correlation, which is, it's good. We're neutral with CL and ES at the moment. We're getting a bit of, when we look at those four indexes, we can see we've got you know, some of them are green. We've got some yellow in there. We've got some red, all turning red now. So we're starting to get to where we are, and that's changed that positive. Now we're CL and ES going in the same direction. That's good. That's a good correlation. CL and GC, in theory, in most instances, we have that negative correlation. So I'm looking at that. That's pretty good. I am just going to change those flags back down to the bottom because I don't like them at the top. So let me go back into indicators, and I change that flag position to bottom. Okay. So there's two lots of data coming in here. So we're pumping in the economic data through our server, but your data for the correlations and everything else on that chart needs to be from your data provider. So whether that's, for me, it's the live data from NinjaTrader, if you're Apex, Rhythmic, or whatever it is, that needs to be on. Okay. So now we have the beginnings, really, of your decision making, your operational landscape, if you like. And we can see on this MCL chart on the 10-minute here, this data that we had today. If I just go back a little bit here where the red line is, a little bit further down, we had you know, some pretty important data, if you like, and that has given us some things to look at, and to, you know, this US data here. We had the catalyst, we moved and we came down from there. We had more US data at 10 a.m. that continued that move down, that data coming out, and so on and so forth. There's lots of sort of data that can happen and trigger certain moves. We had European data that came out at this point, and then eventually we started, and we got a little bit more, and that started that move down. We pulled back. You know, just some general observations here, guys. So this, going back testing here, this UK data came out at this point, and European data. Can anybody tell me in the chat if I just highlight something? So we have a 2 candlestick pattern here. Okay. Anybody tell me what this is? It's pretty simple. If you don't know what it is, you really do need to do your homework and probably go on my foundation course with the xBrat's Academy. Anybody tell me in the chat what this is here, this 2 candle? Bullish engulfing. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about that behavior. Let's talk about what's happening leading into that big data point at that point. So again, remember, the whole point of the trading buddy is to identify what's coming up so you can make those decisions and you can understand that behavior. You can understand about the correlations. We can see now for my oil and copper, oil and ES, you know, at this moment in time, my correlations are good. Okay, with oil, everything's behaving normally. I'd be looking for shorts right now for oil, definitely. Okay, I'm a little bit concerned about the indexes. I would prefer, I mean, to be honest, they're all positive correlations because I've got 3 out of 3. But I just need a little bit more to give me a little bit more confidence. But let's go to this point in time. We've had some UK data, we've pulled back, and we've got a big solid red candle at this point here. And then at the data, the reaction, we gap down slightly to this point here. We moved down, we rejected the lows, and we closed near the highs. So bullish engulfing. Okay, let's get rid of that. So now we understand that we moved down into data, we gapped, we moved back up, we closed at this 10-minute, that's bullish engulfing. I understand that behavior. There's a bullish sentiment there now. Why was that? Because we had the data. Okay. Now, entering this, obviously, there's other things that we can look at, and we can look at this previous sort of resistance here. Okay, I'm going to put some more things on here in a minute, but I'd want to make sure that I was above 73.55. Okay, I want to make sure that I'm above all of this noise. Okay, so this is good. I understand why that's happened. The trading buddies got me prepared. I've looked at that reaction. Wow, okay, that's good. Not interested in going long too early. But once it breaches that 73, 55, 56, I'm interested in the long because I understand that catalyst, what's happened because of the trading buddy. At that moment in time, those correlations would have been helping me out and giving that confirmation as well. And then there's a nice long trade up to that point there. Okay, so you can see when we're back testing with these data points, depending on the instrument you're trading, how useful having those on your chart is. Now, whenever you start, now lots of people use lots of indicators and sometimes it can look a little complicated on the chart. This chart is not for trading, okay? If you've got a laptop and got one screen, you're going to struggle without a doubt, okay? So I'm in the UK. I have a setup here in my office here, and I have two 32-inch monitors. You're looking at one of them, okay? But when I bring them down, I can actually put 4 or 5 charts on that same monitor. So this doesn't have any exotic type of chart type on there. It's a standard 5 or 10 minute. And with the trading buddy, I understand what economic data is coming. I can look and test how it reacted to previous economic data and so on and so forth. Okay. Remember this time here, okay, corresponds to the time that I've changed to GMT time. Okay, so I know my next data point here is at 1800, where that clock's turning here. In reality, the ES time is different. Okay, but again, some people like to understand where they are in the time zone that they're living. So that's where that is, and that's why it doesn't quite correspond to those times. So I can go back and change that if I want to in the indicators. Just to make it simple for you guys, I can go to default. Okay, so they'll both be EST. I'll click apply, and now I go and find that red line again. And we can see here, this corresponds to that 830 data down at 830 unemployment claims, and they're both EST at the top there, just so you don't get confused, okay? Now, that's my starting point. Remember, I'm not really going to trade off this. This is my operational landscape chart. So what I'm going to do now is add the support and resistance zones from the automated support and resistance zones from the Guardian zones. So I'm going to go to indicators, and I'm going to go to xBrat's, and I'm going to add the Guardian zones. Now, I'm not really interested in the weekly or the daily zones, to be honest, okay? So I'm going to just disable those, and I'm going to click apply. So just give it some time for it to calculate. See, on the indexes now, all 4 indexes, we're all pretty much going red there again. We've got this negative, positive, negative correlations there, all good, okay? So now I have my support and resistance zones on there, okay, on this standard operational landscape chart. I've started with the trading buddy, which gives me those points in time in the future and in the past for those data points to give me an understanding where what sort of reactions, where that data is going to come from, and help me plan the day, if you like, but also then go and look back and see how those reactions have gone, and in comparison then I've put my automated support and resistance zones on there. So this is my picture. This is my big picture chart. Not necessarily going to trade from it, not going to add too much else to it. But right now we can see, look at this move down from this 60. So this is a 60-minute and a 15 and a 30. This is a big confluence resistance zone there. It's been tapping on there all overnight. And then we've come back down. What started that move down is this European data. Okay. Then we've relaxed and come back up to test. I'm talking about this behaviors, you know, and I teach all my apprentices and all on on the xBrat Academy, is you're talking through this behavior. We're pushing into this resistance as we're going into that US data. If telling myself, if that resistance holds and the data is the catalyst to send this back down again, I'm going to be looking at my other charts and my signals and my bias depth heat maps and everything like that, and actually looking at these correlations and say, do you know what? The short here is what I'm looking for. So on my other charts with my signal generators, I'm going to be looking for a short here. Look how it's really gone into that confluence zone, started to come back down. We've had that 820, we've had that 830 data. Now it's pushing down, and this is where it came. And then we've got oil inventories. I want to make sure we're out before then. But then that's another catalyst for a move down, and this is where we are right now. It's a tough day today because we've got FOMC. We've got 30-year bond auction at 1 o'clock at this point, and then we've got FOMC minutes at that point there. At this moment in time, my correlations are good. You know, I'm not going to be trading in this small range. What I'm really interested in, and thinking to myself now, if I'm going to be trading FOMC, for example, I want to make sure if I'm going long, it's up above here at this point, and then I've got those other signal generators there. If it does break down here, I've got a long way down, all the way down to that support and resistance zone there. So I'm just preparing myself, and that's all I should be doing, okay? And that's what it is. I mean, we can add now the bias depth heat map, for example, to here, because you can understand the bias at that point. Not necessarily needed, because you're not going to be trading off this chart. This is your operational landscape chart, but I'm gonna put it on there anyway. So I'm going to go to bias depth heat map here, and I'm going to change that to day trading because I'm on the 10-minute time frame. Okay, and I'm going to click apply. So it'll have to recalculate everything again. Okay, and that's one of those things. This is why you don't want to be adding too much to it, because there's a lot of calculations. Those correlations, if you like, each correlation here, each strip of LED lights, if you like, actually is 6 different time frames. So the software has got 4, 6, 8, 12 times 6 time frames to calculate, to look at that correlation. So, you know, and then obviously the bias depth heat maps had to calculate now, and now I've got those support and resistance zones from the Guardian zones. But what I have there right now is my operational landscape in total, and my trading buddy, the support and resistance zones from the Guardian zones, and the bias depth heat map. Excuse me a minute. So this is my operational landscape chart. Not necessarily going to be trading from it, but I understand what's happening in the future. I can then go and back test and see, you know, what's happened in the past. I'm going to make sure I put my previous zones on there just to go and check. But now let's go back to that bullish engulfing that we saw when we had that UK and European data at this point here. Remember, I said this was we needed to clear that. That's a 15-minute zone. So I'd be looking to break out with my Zone Trader Pro, along to that, from that point here. Once it reached this next 30 and 15-minute zone, I would be risk-free. Then once it's gone through that zone, it's come back to test and started to go again, I'd be putting my trading stop just underneath this zone at this point here. Okay, I can add the manager on there to help me understand the behavior as well. I'm not going to do that right now, but I can put the xBrat manager on there. So in theory, on those charts that I'm trading off, I don't need the manager on there, because again, that could be part of my operational landscape to understand that total behavior as far as the 5 or the 10-minute time frame is concerned. you don't need, if you're using an exotic Ninja Renko, Uni Renko, or anything else to trade, you don't need that on this chart. What you need is a standard chart, 5-10 minutes. You need the trading buddy on there. You need the guardian zones because these are really hot automated support and resistance zones on multiple time frames. These are the ones that give you the go no go gauge. You understand what's happening in the future as far as economic data is concerned. You understand where you are right now with those correlations, and again right now everything's red on those indexes. So there's no sector rotation on the indexes. Everything's going down. We're all good. Those correlations are good. What are my correlations like between copper and oil, oil and ES? They're all as they should be. ES and oil should go the same way. Should be a positive correlation. Copper and oil negative at this moment in time, but they pre-market can be positive, and then the negative correlation in that European Open. Again, it's about understanding the behavior of your particular instrument. And then we're looking here with gold and oil. Again, when those that have gone through my apprenticeship or actually gone through that xBrat Academy initial module, when we go through those correlations, you understand that's a normal correlation there. When oil's going down, gold should be going up. Okay, so the behavior is as it should be. Okay, want to go through now. So this was a trade this morning. I shared it with my Q4 apprenticeship from 2024 this morning. One of them is a 6E trader, and this was the trade this morning. So we had what I call the European Gold Pit Open at this point here. We have also European data coming out just before then. So what we have is we have a perfect storm. We have at that point we have our increase in volume from for 6E at that particular time. We define that opening range, and then we trade the short down until it hits the target at that point there. The bias depth heat map is all red. We understood that the catalyst for this was European data. Lots of fresh air to that next support zone. Great trade. Okay. Yes, the essential module really is a must for all traders. Okay. There's a lot in there, but I think if you're going to take trading seriously, you really need to do that essential module on the xBrat Academy, because it really, I mean, economic data, correlations, futures trading, price action, volume, there's so much in there, and it's really, really strong sort of strategy here. So yeah, this is an example of me actually adding one of our strategies to that, the range breakout strategy to that, and it still works. Okay, but in reality, this is what you should be having. Total operational landscape now with the trading buddy, the guardian zones, and the bias depth heat map. This is really your operational landscape right now for oil. Okay, this helps me decide whether to get in a trade or not. It helps me prepare for future events that are going to be, high volatility type events. Red line on this bottom, on this right hand pane, is where we are in time right now and what's next. And again, if you're in a really great trade, it helps you understand, right, okay, I've got to be locking in profits, be aggressive here, hide behind a support and resistance zone for that trailing stop. It gives you that heads up on what you should be doing, and that's why the trading buddy is essential really to get that operational landscape done perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize that. Again, this is what my charts look like. None of these are active right now, but again, so I've got 4 charts on this screen, and one of them is my operational landscape. Okay, on another screen, I've got HG on my operational landscape. I'll just drag that over here. So HG operational landscape. I just go to indicators, apply there. Oh, I've slowed the computer down. Okay, so one of the things that is very important with the trading buddy is you have the trading buddy only on one chart on any given instrument. So don't have it on every instrument, on every chart of copper, for example. It will just slow the computer down. It's not designed for that. It's designed to have on one chart for each instrument. That's it. Okay. So this is my operational landscape for copper. Again, I've got everything on there that I need to get on there. And I'm running ZoneTrader Pro at the moment, where I can switch it on and off and looking for those particular trades. I'm just, just trialing some things alongside Trading Buddy. But again, I've only got it on the one chart for copper because this tells me, the Trading Buddy tells me, again, I'm going to repeat it one more time, what's coming up in the future, what's happened in the past, so I can understand how those reactions are. I've then added the Guardian zones to this, so I understand where my support and resistance zones are right now. And I've got my correlations on there. And right now, we're positive correlation with gold and copper. We're negative with copper and oil, and ZB and HG are negative. Got lots of fresh air up there as well. Any sort of shenanigans from these two data points here, and I get a signal on one of my other charts, it could mean that I'd be happy with a good long trade. I wouldn't be happy with any shorts into all this rubbish here. Yes, I've got Trading Buddy with ZoneTrader Pro here as well. Okay. But again, don't put Trading Buddy on every single chart of copper now. Okay. It only goes on one chart. Move that out of the way. Okay. So any more questions before I move on? Because we've just about done the half hour I wanted to on Trading Buddy. Any more questions on Trading Buddy before I move on and get some TradingView charts up there and look at some of the things? I think I did well there. Only 2 coughing fits in half an hour. Come on, speak now. Any more questions on that? It's very self-explanatory, and the training videos that I've done makes it very, very simple to do. And to be honest, it's a must-have. You need to understand your operational landscape for the instrument that you're trading. You then add those Guardian zones to it. It's just, okay, it will not show on that chart from Robert purely because he has more than one time frame on one chart for some reason. I'm going to bring that over here. I'm looking here, and I've got ES 2 minute, ES 3 minute, ES 1 minute. I don't understand where these are coming from on top of there. Need a totally clean chart just with that on. I don't understand why there is 3 different time frames there on this chart. It should work if those are taken off, and that should be on 5 minutes or 10 minutes here. Okay. So again, all I got when I start is the Trading Buddy on one simple 10-minute chart. So George, hard seeing how trading would work with SS. Is that Slingshot? Yeah, you're not putting Slingshot on here. Slingshot would be on a smaller time frame, and this is just your operational landscape, so you understand what's coming and when. So on Slingshot GC, for example, I'm on a 4/12/20, and that would work. Okay, again, it's about operational landscape. It's not about a trading strategy. You check the optimization every week with Slingshot. Loading that up now. So this loads up fast purely because I've not loaded any historical trades up. You can see that white line there. Again, it's got the same support and resistance zones on where we are. Obviously, that's CL up the top there. If I go to GC, that's where that price action is compared to there. That's on the operational landscape there for the Trading Buddy. So yes. Okay, you're auto trader enabled, and you're in a time zone when things are coming along. You look up here, for example, on gold, you've got FOMC coming. You're just going to disable auto entries for that. And that's the whole point, is that There's different data every single day, and you need to be prepared. So at this moment in time, we've got a bit of time before the next bit of data. Okay, on my operational landscape, shorts look good. You enable your slingshot, and if it's in the trading window, it will take a trade. Okay, but the closer you get into these, for example, if you're in a trade, you might want to flatten it. Okay, or if you're not in a trade and you're coming up to a massive event like this, disable it. That's the whole point. It's enabling you to plan. Okay, it's not a trading strategy, it's a trading buddy. Does that answer your question, George? So I'm just going to go back in here. All dates are relevant. Let me just go big on this. I've got to move that thing. So what you can do on, so let's go back to MCL a second. So in the indicators on the economic calendar front, okay, you could, in theory, where's economic calendar? So minimum impact to show is currently at low. You might want to put that at medium. So it only shows medium and high, Christine. Okay. So everything's relevant because everything will, US dollar will react, and therefore all other instruments will react. For the lower volatility ones, you may not want there. So if I apply that, all it does is filter out the low impact on the trading buddy. Every day is relevant. Every piece of data is relevant. If it's low impact, then maybe filter it out. So now on your trading buddy, when it does that, okay, now you will only see on the calendar either 2 bars or 3. You won't see any single bar low impact thing. So what I've done is sort of filtered out those low impact. So George, once you've optimized and you've been running it, and you've not re-optimized for 2 or 3 weeks, it's running good. If you've still got a major data point and you're in a trade, it's probably sensible to actually flatten that trade. Or if you've got something that's major and it's got 3 bloody bars right here, okay. So tomorrow, we got non-farm payrolls, blah blah blah. You've got to be sensibly switching the bloody thing off. And that's what it allows you to do. You don't get non-farm payrolls every week, okay? But when you're optimizing the strategy, you're optimizing it over a 90-day period, which takes in big data days and non-big data days all on a Thursday, for example. Not every single Thursday has massive data. What this allows you to do is be very micro and understand what's coming up to plan your day. Right, even though it's in my training window, FOMC is coming out, I'm going to switch it off. Okay. Okay, so any more questions on Trading Buddy? Basically there to keep you out of trouble, but also plan your day and understand how the behavior is going right now. So, we've got on a neutral correlation between oil and gold right now, but we're in this very narrow range. Some people may not actually have any signal generators and just trade with this and the Guardian zones if they're a competent trader and understand support resistance, get some volume on there, the trading buddy to help you out with the correlations. If you're an advanced trader, that you could just trade using that. Okay, so we've done Trading Buddy. If there's no more questions on Trading Buddy, I am going to switch over and bring over some TradingView charts and go through a few things. So it's been ages since I've talked about Elliott Wave, and Apple's one of the stocks that I continually monitor, look for swings or even add opportunities to add to my position in Apple. So right now, this is very interesting on Apple. I know we don't get earnings until the end of the month, but I have to say that we've broken through a major sort of resistance zone here, where the top end is around about 237.38. So during 2024, we really struggled to break through that. And then we had earnings and dividends come out in November 2024, and obviously good news. It's enough to push it through. Now we're pulling back on a wave four. So just wanted to go through some basic rules. So for me, Elliott Wave is really just for swing trading and investing, okay? Because it's those longer term trends that I'm really interested in. So this wave four at the moment, we're in the pullback zone. So we're in an amber zone, okay? So that's the fifth wave target zone up there in blue. This amber zone right now is just above this previous support and resistance zone. What I'd really like to happen here is coming into this, testing this zone, which will be the red zone and this support and resistance zone. We're going to hopefully start to look for support, start to move away from there. By that time, we'll be into the earnings. Now, this could happen earlier. Doubt it. News cycle's not going to be enough catalyst to move that up. But the interesting thing, what we have here with the Elliott Wave oscillator, is that now the oscillator is between 90 and 140%. Also, the false breakout stochastic denoted those false breakouts on the top there, denoting a really strong bullish trend. Stochastics pulled back against that. It's like an elastic band. Once it crosses over in that oversold zone, it wants to return to that strong bullish false breakout set sort of instance there where there's strong bullish. So all the stars are aligning right now for a potential long trade or adding more to your Apple position. We're not there yet. It's one of those things when you're trading stocks, and again, I used to do it for a living. So you just look at it at the end of every day. Well, for me in Europe, you just look at it at the beginning of the next day before the market's open. It's so simple to do. Right now, I've got a fictitious entry at 247.76, but if this pulls deeper, I'd be looking there. One thing that's not part of the Elliott Wave indicator suite is the regression trend channel. Very, very important for me. This long number you see here is called a Pearson's R. I'm not going to get too technical with it, but 0.9428 is 94.28%. Anything over 90% for this wave four pullback, this regression trend channel, is a very orderly profit-taking pullback, and that behavior is very, very strong. If that remains above 90%, I would look for a more aggressive entry breaking out and closing out of this regression trend channel. So that at this moment is not a buy order. We do have potential conservative entries with this breaking this blue 6-4 moving average high. Again, a lot of this is in the training for Elliott Wave. But I just wanted to highlight that stocks trading isn't like day trading. It just is, it's slow. Okay, you've got 10 stocks you'd probably look up where they're on the cycles, and you'd be adding. In my book, Confluence Not Coincidence, I actually talk about shorting to feed the investing pot. There are some videos out there as well, and I do mention how to do that in the book with a different trading account, a leveraged, whether it's options or CFDs. But we'd look at smaller time frames and look for a short at this point. We'd be in a short with CFDs, and then I'd be taking that profit to buy some more Apple when the time is right. I do the same with Microsoft as well. Yes, and again, Richard, I talk about that particular strategy using Microsoft as an example in the book because it works. Yeah, it works extremely well. Again, Elliott Wave's available on lots of different platforms, but I just wanted to highlight Elliott Wave on Apple on the TradingView platform because, you know, right now we're in a situation where we should be monitoring this, and we understand that the behavior from the different tools that we've got within the Elliott Wave indicator suite are everything's behaving normally. When I'm looking at some very basic support and resistance zones on the daily time frame here, I would really love for this to be tested as well as this wave 4 zone. As long as that oscillator's still not gone beyond 140 and I haven't got any false breakouts here, you know, this is something I would be really keeping an eye on. on Apple. Okay, so that's swing trading with Elliott Wave. I think that's very important to keep touching base on that, because sometimes we really concentrate as traders on day trading, making money day trading. For long-term wealth generation, you've got to be swing trading stocks or investing in stocks. You've got to be shorting to feed that investing pot and then keep adding to those positions. Choose sort of any, if you're starting off, choose 2 or 3 stocks, maybe 5 maximum. For me, I have 13 in my portfolio, and I short when the time is right. Sometimes it's only once a year for those. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I don't even short, but then when the time is right, I add to those particular investment positions. So again, don't get too hung up on funded trading, on day trading and everything else. That's your dinner money, your pocket money, your living money. When you've got excess of that from day trading, you put it in your investing pot, because buying Apple years ago, and I've done loads of videos on Apple. Some of these US stocks are really, really strong, and it's not, you don't need massive accounts like I've been doing this a long time, but you've got to start somewhere. You've got to start at a price, even if it's 1 or 2 shares. In 15, 20 years time, if you run those strategies, those Confluence strategies that I talk about in the book, and using the technology, you will have grown wealth. And that's the whole point. You won't grow wealth just by day trading. You use your excess profits from day trading, you buy stocks and you hold them. When they pull back, you short if you can, using a different leveraged account. Use that free money to buy more of that stock, and you just keep going. Again, I talk about this heavily in the book because it's very, very important for wealth growth. Okay, so that's Apple. Now, let's go to oil. I've got lots of charts on here, but I just want to talk about some confluences that happen that are very, very strong. And again, this is about understanding how your day starts. So this is this is oil today on the London Open. So I'm going to talk through. I've got some. What the good thing about TradingView is, if I draw a vertical line on a chart, I can share it with the other charts, and this helps with when you're putting a Confluence strategy together. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of things. So this bottom left-hand chart is, for me, always defines the day. For oil, for example, I'll look at the London Open and the oil pit open. So it defines that opening range, and we look for a trade out of that opening range. But with a Confluence strategy, we're looking at smaller time frames on different types of strategies, indicators, to give us a warm fuzzy feeling that all the stars are aligned, the momentum's building, and there's a good trade happening. So up above there, I have CL on the 3-minute, but with the VWAP Predator. So this is sort of slow motion time lapse, if you like. So at this point here, let's go here. Okay. So at this point, I know I'm coming into that European Open. So what happens is this particular candle here, with this first on this 10-minute down below, is this candle here. I get a VWAP Predator buy signal at this point. Momentum's building, because the VWAP Predator is all about momentum. The very next candle, I get another. And then I get on this same candle here, I get the London opening range, and then it breaks out to the top. So what I'm doing is I'm building confidence that the range breakout, when it defines, I've already got momentum leading into that to the upside. All of my bias depth heat map is green. I'm starting to get a confluence of different strategies saying you've got to go long oil here. Okay. Also on the 3-minute, wave 4 pullback on the Elliott wave. Okay, there's those 2 vertical lines. The wave 4 pullback's already happened into the amber zone. It's starting to move away. I get those 2 blue vertical lines here for that VWAP Predator. I get the this here, this has already happened. The rules have been met. I'm starting to get really confident here that actually I should be going long oil, okay? Because the stars are aligning. It's not just, you're not relying on one specific signal indicator. You've got fresh air, you've got your bias depth heat map is all green. Leading into that London Open, you've just had a wave 4 pullback on the Elliott Wave. The VWAP Predator is building because you're getting buy signal after buy signal after buy signal. You're waiting for that London opening range. It happens. You break out, you go long, and you use the manager wherever you want to actually manage that trade. So it's about combining those strategies to give you lots of confidence that when you're going to trade, you're going to go long. Now, that can be quite complex on your particular instrument. You're going to be looking at different time frames, and it takes time to learn. Okay, and within the xBrat Academy, right at the culmination of the xBrat Academy, I teach you how to put them all together and actually build Confluence strategies for your particular instrument. Now, a simpler version is to take a couple of strategies. So in this particular case, I have the VWAP Predator and I have the roller coaster. So this is one of those special TradingView chart types. Okay, it's a Renko, but it's an ATR Renko. You can't get that on NinjaTrader, but I think it's important to actually show you combining, not just, I use NinjaTrader a lot. I think it's important that I'm going to TradingView occasionally to look at some of these. So what I've got here is a really great trade on oil. And what happens is, so again, it's all about confluences, but what I can use the VWAP Predator for is to actually add more contracts to a move. Yeah. So I'm just going to hide the VWAP Predator for a minute, and I'm just going to show you this little green arrow here. Okay, we get a buy signal on the roller coaster. Have to is at an amazing short at this point here. Our stoppers at this point, 73.11. Our entry is a stop market order at 73.71. So, the risk isn't that great, to be honest. It's really, really sensible. We're 5 out of 6 on here. For me, 4 out of 6 on the bias depth heat map for roller coaster is good enough because we're changing direction. It's a roller coaster motion. It's going down, it's up, it's down, it's up. So the bias depth heat map, really a lot of the signals, momentum signals, we want 6 out of 6. But when we're changing direction, and the roller coaster is designed to trade that change in direction, for me, a minimum 4 out of 6 is good enough. So we get 5 out of 6 here, which is good. So we've got a tick in the box, if you like. Next big sort of resistance is all the way up here. Really good. We've got signal, we've got confirmation. We're going to go long at this point here. Now, with the VWAP Predator, what I've done is switched off all of the upper bands, the lower bands, just to keep it sort of nice and neat on the chart. If I get a VWAP Predator signal within two blocks of this in original signal, I'm going to add another contract. Okay, this is the part where momentum really builds in. So you get one contract at this point here. Just put a line in. In fact, let's put an arrow in. And that's 73.71. Then we get that signal candle close. So we put another buy order in at 73.82 to add to that position. Okay, now it's not over yet. We do get the trailing stop being printed at this point here. And again, I'm looking for candle closers, brick closers, and then that gaps up. So every time a brick closes, I'm 1 brick behind with the trailing stop at this point. This buy signal on the next VWAP Predator is 3 bricks away, so I'm not going to add any more to this particular move, if you like. So I'm two contracts in. 73.76 is my average holding position, there or thereabouts. I get a pullback, and then it goes again, and all I'm doing every time a brick closes, I'm adjusting in line with this trailing stop position at this point here until the trailing stop is taken out. Now, 2 contracts is better than 1 as long as momentum's going and you got those rules in place for when you get the signal. Now that trade is worth 95 ticks times 2 contracts. So that's 190 ticks, $1,900. Okay. This is important. You've got to have a set of rules with your bias depth heat map. This is a very simple Confluence strategy where I'm just using 2 combined together on the same time frame. So this is a 2-minute ATR 14 on the Renko on the TradingView. Now, the previous short trade, all 6 time frames were red, lots of fresh air to this support zone down here, but I didn't add another contract. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Only when the stars are aligned do we add those contracts. Okay. Now we get another long signal at this point here. Again, all 6 time frames are green. We don't get a VWAP to get more. That's fine. And we get one here. Every time you see the trailing stop being printed is a winner. Okay. Don't see any losers for now. Okay. Now, in this situation, we get a sell signal and it was a loser. Okay. But we get a buy signal coming in to here on the VWAP Predator. Okay. That's a sign for me to flag to get out a little bit early. But watch this. Comes up, pulls back. We reject the lows with a buy signal at this point here. We are 4 out of 6 on the VWAP Predator. You got to understand that this is a major inflection point here. I would not be interested in this long unless it broke their stop market order. On the very next brick from this buy signal on the VWAP Predator, all 6 time frames are green. Okay, that's a good buy signal. It's a really good buy signal. At this point, how do you manage that? Any more than 2 bricks, I'm out. Okay. A little bit further on in time, again, all these are winners here, but you can see signal confirmation, reasonable amount of fresh air to this resistance, and then we go. So this is a very simple Confluence strategy combining on the same time frame with 2 instruments. If you're going to combine on the same time frame when you're looking at a Confluence strategy, just use the 2 plus the bias depth heat map and you'll be good. Because I'd always say use the VWAP Predator because that's your one for momentum. And that's where you can add contracts to specific moves. And then obviously the roller coaster is a fantastic trading signal tool for you know, we get this upward motion, downward motion, upward motion. Right now, there were 2 sale signals at this point with the VWAP Predator. At this point, there was no roller coaster, but second sell signal for me was good because all 6 time frames were red. Go short, just believe though this pivot, and we're still in the trade right now. It ain't rocket science. Confluence strategy, again, this is why I wrote the book, is simple. You just need to know how to marry those 2 together, or 3 or 4. So you get those high probability trading opportunities. Now let's have a look at this recent move. So we, again, I'm not going to go into this price action coming up to test that London Open, then coming down and looking for those shorts. There was a good correlation there, good confluence to actually trade that short down into the oil pit open. And now we've had the oil pit open, and we've, again, with that trading buddy, we looked at those particular catalysts for those moves down. There was good opportunities to trade that short as well, but there were obviously going to be other points where we have that. So when you're back testing with TradingView, it's very, very simple in that what we can do is look at this. If I move this particular vertical line, it's moving it here as well. We get a sell signal at this point on the VWAP Predator. We're still mucking around in this point here. I'm not really interested because I haven't got the backup of this bias depth heat map down on the day trading setting down here. I have got it on the scalping setting here, but I've got to be really careful at this point because it's going sideways. I need a catalyst. I need data. Okay. But then we get this signal here. Yes, we've missed the very start of it, but we're good. Yeah, we understand that we've had that oil pit open. We've had the data before that point. Then we've got more data coming in, and all of a sudden it pushes down. We've got a confirmation from the VWAP Predator, and we can go short. I mean, that move's a pretty good move. Thank you, Christine. Yes, maybe I should make a little bit of video on that as well to make sure you can show people how to do that on NinjaTrader. Let me just take a screenshot of that so I don't forget. Where's my snippet tool? Just going to put that in here. Okay, we're coming up to 6 p.m. My grandson will be arriving from his parents' evening because we're going to have dinner together because we leave on Saturday. So, any questions on Confluence strategy? I tried to keep this simple, but obviously the xBrat Academy, if you go through that, and those on the apprenticeship will understand, combining these gets really strong trading opportunities. And then obviously we have our new trading buddy, which is that's why it's called Trading Buddy. It's going to help you a lot. Okay, really is going to help you a lot here. So before I go, any questions on Trading Buddy or on Confluence strategy? Okay, guys. So it can show more than 24 hours. So what can happen is if you go to indicators and you look for range to show, just click all available and that will show back more than one day, and it will show what's available in the future, at least one day, okay, depending on the data. Okay. So right now we're showing FOMC minutes, and then we're going into the evening, and then this is tomorrow here with unemployment rates, non-farms, and up till 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. What will happen is that will continually update. And obviously, backtesting is very important to see how your instrument reacts to certain data. Any more questions on Trading Buddy before I go? Okay, excellent. Thank you, guys. Thanks for turning up. Sorry about the flu thing. I'm going to stop this recording now.